Have you ever felt like your brain has a nasty habit of saving all its worries for the moment you lie down to sleep? During the day, many people keep their minds busy. Life gets loaded with distractions, like work, scrolling endlessly through social media, or even binge-watching a series to avoid confronting those nagging thoughts. It feels like a quick fix, but here's the catch. What you avoid during the day doesn't just disappear. It creeps back tenfold when the world quiets down, and suddenly your bedroom becomes the theater of overthinking. Distractions might seem like the hero of the moment, keeping stress at bay when you're awake. But, contrary to what most believe, this coping mechanism works against you as night falls. Imagine spending your day filling a mental pressure cooker. Every suppressed anxiety, every worry you avoided, every moment you thought, "I'll deal with this later," gets locked inside. The stillness of the night is the moment that cook button pops, and all those thoughts start spilling out uncontrollably. It's exhausting, isn't it? Yet, it's exactly what so many of us unintentionally train our brains to do. But here's the deal. A sneaky connection exists between the habits we build to silence anxiety during the day and the spiraling sleep-depriving fears we face at night. This is where cycles of insomnia, relentless rumination, and worsening anxiety start to form. And just when you thought a Netflix marathon could save you, the brain is busy plotting its nighttime revenge. The truth is, when we learn to pull that rug of distractions, the deeper roots of anxiety reveal themselves. And that's where real change starts. But what's actually happening inside your body that makes this even worse at bedtime? Let's peel back the layers and talk about why anxiety feels like it's on steroids at night. First up, your circadian rhythm. That internal clock running the show. This rhythm governs your body's hormones, like cortisol, the one that fuels your stress response. Normally, cortisol spikes in the morning to get you moving and ebbs throughout the day, hitting its lowest point at night. But here's the rub. If your cortisol cycle is out of sync, a flattened cortisol curve, your body won't know how to wind down properly. Instead of calm evenings, you're left with racing thoughts and rising panic, like an unwelcome encore no one asked for. Then there's the amygdala, your brain's personal watchdog, which gets suspiciously louder at night. Why? Because during sleep, this emotional regulator decides it's time to process all those unsorted fears and stresses you shoved away all day. Guess what happens when the brain runs out of daytime distractions? The amygdala's hyperactivity kicks into overdrive, serving up vivid nightmares, intense emotional flashes, or that suffocating sense of dread you can't shake. It's fascinating, really. Your brain is trying to protect you by forcing you to confront unresolved issues, but it sure doesn't do it gently. As if that wasn't enough, your frontal lobe, the brain's CEO that handles control, focus, and willpower, checks out for the night too. The frontal lobe spends the day suppressing those anxieties, like a patient firefighter hosing down every flame of fear. But here's the catch. It's not built to stay active 24/7. By nighttime, it's drained, leaving the anxious thoughts free rein to spiral without control. This perfect storm, misaligned cortisol, a hyperactive amygdala, and a tired frontal lobe, is why anxiety often feels so much worse right when you're desperate for peace. And it doesn't stop there. Your habits may be making this even harder to escape. Let me explain. Let's be honest. One of the biggest mistakes we make with anxiety is trying to run from it. During the day, we rely on distractions to keep it at bay. Whether it's throwing yourself into work, scrolling endlessly on Instagram, or numbing the mind with YouTube videos, it feels like you're winning the battle. But here's the irony. By leaning so heavily on these external crutches, you're training your brain to stay disconnected from the very emotions it needs to process. And at night, well, those unprocessed feelings resurface with a vengeance, thriving in the quiet where distractions lose their power. Over time, this pattern feeds into a vicious cycle. By avoiding and suppressing emotions during the day, you end up amplifying them when your head hits the pillow. Those racing thoughts, did I mess up that meeting? Or what if tomorrow's a disaster? Aren't random. They're the accumulation of all the obstacles you pushed aside, building pressure like water behind a dam. And since there's no late-night Netflix series strong enough to drown out your mind, this overload produces rumination, the endless stream of repetitive negative thoughts that keep you wide awake at 3 a.m. It's no wonder insomnia becomes the roommate anxiety loves best. Worse yet, rumination isn't just exhausting, it's counterproductive. The more time your brain spends replaying worries, the less it's able to find a solution or wind itself down. Picture it like this. Every time you avoid facing your anxiety, it's like sweeping dust under a rug. By the time the day ends, the useless habit of distraction comes crashing down, leaving you with a mountain of silent fears. But breaking this cycle starts with understanding one of the most important players in this game: your brain itself. Dive into the neurobiology of it, and things start to get really interesting. Now, let's shine a spotlight on the inner workings of the brain and why it seems determined to keep you awake at night. One key player is the default mode network, a system in your brain that becomes highly active when you're not focused on anything in particular. During the day, you're busy enough to keep this network in check, but as night falls, it kicks into overdrive. This is when you start replaying arguments, worrying about next week's deadlines, or obsessing over that awkward comment you made 3 years ago. Familiar? That's your brain prioritizing self-referential processing, a fancy way of saying it's wired to think about you constantly. Then there's melatonin, the hormone that plays a huge role in regulating sleep. Its job: to calm the nervous system, reduce emotional reactivity, and prepare the body for rest. But for people battling anxiety or insomnia, melatonin production often gets disrupted. Without enough melatonin to counterbalance the amygdala's hyperactivity, your body is left in full alert mode when it should be winding down. It's like trying to fall asleep with a fire alarm blaring in the background. No wonder it feels impossible to relax. The brain doesn't stop there, though. When emotional processing kicks in during sleep, your mind uses vivid nightmares as a way to address unresolved fears. While this process may be part of your brain's natural emotional cleansing routine, it can become overwhelming if your anxiety is already heightened. The result? A frustrating cycle where sleep becomes yet another battlefield. But once you understand how to recalibrate these biological systems, a different kind of control emerges. So, how do you break this loop and finally feel in charge? Let's talk strategies. If you're tired of being stuck in the endless cycle of nighttime anxiety, here's the good news: you have more control than you think. Start by embracing practices that help regulate your stress levels. For instance, meditation and breathing techniques like pranayama aren't just buzzwords. They calm your nervous system and reduce cortisol, that ever-busy stress hormone. Taking a slow evening walk or spending time with a pet can also work wonders, grounding your mind and signaling your body that it's safe to relax. These small efforts during the day create pro-sleep signals, setting the stage for a calm and restful night. But here's the kicker: stop relying on distractions to deal with your anxiety. Instead, confront it head-on with structured methods like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, or simple cognitive reframing exercises. For example, the next time your mind spirals with irrational fears, challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself, is this true? Or what's the worst that could happen? This simple shift rewires your brain, reducing the buildup of suppressed stress by evening. It's like teaching your mind to regulate itself, eliminating the dependence on temporary fixes that only amplify the panic once distractions are gone. Finally, don't underestimate the importance of catching your sleep window. Most people assume exhaustion makes falling asleep easier. Wrong. Pushing past your natural bedtime drains your frontal lobe, robbing you of the willpower needed to quiet your racing mind. Instead, aim to wind down 14 to 16 hours after waking. Create a calming routine at dim the lights, read a book, or sip chamomile tea. The secret lies in consistency. The more you honor your natural rhythms, the easier it becomes to transition from a busy day into peaceful sleep. But this is only part of the picture. What about the deeper evolutionary roots of anxiety's nighttime grip? It might sound strange, but your nighttime anxiety could be a legacy from your ancestors. Back when survival meant protecting yourself from predators lurking in the shadows, the human brain evolved to be hyperalert at night. The amygdala, your brain's survival center, would light up as a defense mechanism, ensuring you were acutely aware of your environment. Fast forward to modern times, predators are gone, but your brain hasn't received the memo. At night, this heightened threat detection remains, leaving you restless, paranoid, and hypervigilant. That's why tossing and turning in a seemingly safe room can feel so nervous. This is also where psychology meets biology. The brain craves safety to relax enough for deep sleep, but it doesn't stop there. Your subconscious uses dreams, especially vivid nightmares, to process emotional stress. Nightmares are like emotional boot camps for your brain, forcing you to revisit unresolved fears. If you've gone to bed avoiding hard truths during the day, your brain will force you to deal with them through dreams. Sure, those chaotic, emotionally taxing dreams might feel like punishment, but in reality, they're your brain's way of hitting edit mode on unprocessed emotions. And let's not forget the importance of creating a safe environment. Something as small as a locked door, soft lighting, or an evening ritual can send powerful signals to your brain. You're safe now. This is exactly why falling asleep in a noisy airport feels impossible. By establishing specific habits, like spending time outdoors at dusk or avoiding high-stimulation environments before bed, you're bridging the gap between evolution and modern psychology. But to truly break the chains of restless nights, you'll need more than just security. You need to reframe your day-to-day habits to work with, not against, your brain and body. If you want to turn your nights around for good, it all starts with reshaping your days. First, get moving. Exercise is one of the most effective ways to reduce excess cortisol while boosting those feel-good hormones your brain craves. Think about something simple to incorporate, like a brisk 20-minute walk each afternoon. Pair that with an evening carb-heavy meal, and you're setting your body up for optimal melatonin production. Remember, the goal is to flip the brain's relax switch way before you even hit the pillow. Small actions like these signal your body it's time to wind down, slowly but surely. Another game changer? Stop procrastinating. It sounds unrelated, but think back to those nights where your brain kept screaming, "What about all the things you didn't do today?" Tackling tasks set on during the day trains your mind to better manage stress and quiet all those unfinished loops when bedtime rolls around. To make this easier, try a 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes to complete, do it right away. These tiny wins throughout the day prevent that mountain of unchecked tasks from piling up by evening, leaving your mind clearer and calmer come nightfall. And lastly, ditch distractions when managing anxiety. Instead of running from it, opt for techniques like breathing exercises or meditation. If anxiety strikes late at night, try the 4-7-8 breathing method. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. These intentional breaths activate the parasympathetic nervous system, working wonders to override feelings of urgency and stress. The more you build in these rituals throughout your day, the stronger your ability to stay grounded becomes. But don't just stop here. The path to better sleep doesn't end with actionable tips. Let's tie everything together so you can start applying this knowledge today. So, what are you going to do differently tonight? Are you going to keep letting your mind run the show? Or are you ready to take charge of your anxiety and finally get the restful sleep you deserve? Think about it. Those racing thoughts, that pounding heart, all of it feeds off your daily habits. But here's the best part. You've already uncovered the tools to break the cycle. It's no longer about coping, but about rewiring your brain to work with you, not against you. The question is, how badly do you want to feel better? Imagine waking up tomorrow refreshed, with no more hours lost to crippling rumination or late-night overthinking. You can get there, step by step. Maybe it starts with something small, like recognizing your sleep window, practicing a simple breathing exercise, or even shutting down the distractions earlier. And what about finally tackling that procrastination that floods your nights with guilt? Every change, no matter how small, puts you closer to the calm you've been chasing. But hey, only you can make that first move. Now, here's something else to think about. Anxiety thrives in silence, but so does growth. Are you ready to start that growth today? If this video inspired you, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. This is just the beginning of what we'll uncover together about anxiety, neuroscience, and living a calmer, more in-control life. Because, let's face it, transformative change doesn't just happen overnight. It's built daily. See you in the next video, where we'll dive even deeper into creating the life you deserve.